Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to RimWorld Survival. So, well, let me zoom back in. We have been redesigning the kill box a little bit, sort of deciding that we are not going to create walls between the turrets, but instead have bait turrets that are going to get shot at instead. The next thing I want to do is to start stockpiling the resources that we're going to need for repairs for the reactor raids. But before I do that, there's a lot of other little projects, actually. There's so many little projects, it's kind of ridiculous. So, chief amongst them would be the additional turrets over here that shoot towards the kill box. So, I think I'm going to put mostly slugs here as well. Something along these lines. Maybe actually one all the way down. And then an autocannon somewhere in the middle. Alright, that just about works for me. And what we're going to do is create a backstop. So this becomes a sort of a barracks area where we can repair them and then get behind cover, etc. It's going to be pretty important to have all of those beautiful defenses. Now, of course, this uses up a lot of components, so aggro's got a whole lot of work ahead of him. And then, of course, it also uses up uranium, so Janes has a lot of work ahead of him. Taking a look at the base here, we definitely have a little bit of a dirty base. So, taking a look at acid and Cefalu, I'm going to make Cefalu the cleaner of the group here. I would do acid, but we're gonna... Oh, okay. This boom rat drank himself unconscious. An alcohol blackout, getting into our alcohol stocks. Didn't notice that, thought I would, but clearly had not. I just rescued him. He'll hang out in here until we're able to tame him. Now, I did do a run of rice in the backup hydroponics area. The reason being is our rice stocks were a little low because we were cranking out so many lavish meals, and I didn't really adjust for population or anything like that. So we're going to correct for that. We are going to get these beautiful turrets constructed, and then the wall that is blocking their view removed. And that was always sort of the plan for this area. And that way, if we have to rapidly respond to attacks and things of that nature, we're able to. Bandit Camp quest, nope. Big old nope for me, sorry. I'm really not that interested in questing anymore, if I can help it. Okay, so for here, we are going to need dead power. I actually think what I'm going to do is auto doors here, so that they open quick and clean, and they're going to be a little bit more expensive, but they'll be worth it. Alright, and then let's get some dead power. So for the dead power, I will I'll set up dead power where that turret will eventually be constructed. Alright, there's one of my doors. What about the other one? Do we need components? Yes, aggro is working on the components. Fortunately, what I could do in the meantime is just shut these doors here, and that will keep the area isolated from the rest of the base. A lot of little compartmentalizing, but that's for security and heat and all that. Alright, I did have some tips that I wanted to go over. So the first tip is from Kiffy Liversage, mentioning that at the entrance of this kill box, I could use graves. Graves aren't walkable, but won't be destroyed either. Not like the walls will. Now, instead of deconstructing these, I can just replace them with graves when they get destroyed. So that is my current plan. Okay, we're bringing the components down. And there we go. There's our other door. And then I'm going to want a light out there so that I can repair quickly. And we will have a whole lot of beautiful gunfire pointing towards the baddies. So one of the advantages of this slug turret is it, you know, look at our firing arcs. There's really nowhere safe. That means that if, let's say, meleeers go for this turret, these turrets can fire on that one. Yes, it will damage the turret, but also likely kill whoever is chasing. Alright, so there is a hammered boom rat wandering around in the base. Sort of hoping I could tame it. Send it in to explode on future enemies. That is sort of my plan. So all you boom rat lovers, I'm sorry that I'm sacrificing your explosive friends, but for good reason. Alright, let's go ahead and clear this as a home zone. I am constantly seeing people tidy it up, and I really don't need that. Fine-tuned base for the in-game raids. So what I'm thinking is, rather than building somewhere in the obscure north, I will just go ahead and set up my reactor somewhere pretty much in or around the base, dealing with the consequences. Hey, look! A little uranium coming down from the sky. That's kind of nice. I don't think in all the time I've ever played I've ever seen uranium fall as a supply like that, but cool. Alright, Stormy, how is your radiation? 3.1%? That's just about low enough for me. We are going to give you a little bit of a task here. I'm going to burn up the remainder of the bodies that I've yet to deal with. Now, if you're wondering about this, it's so that, you know, if I have to go stomping out here to kill would-be raiders or whatever, the simple fact of staring at these bodies isn't going to turn my guys to mental breaks. So, that was 15% radiation for 4 corpses. Kind of a bad trade, if you ask me, but, you know, those things, those corpses do need to get removed. They're pretty close to the base. Alright, my rice after this harvest and this next harvest should be just fine. We are easily recovering from our deficit. Agro's working on them components. Looks like this autocannon turret is good to go. Then the uranium turret is just waiting on 6 more components. I do plan on putting a, maybe it'll just be another autocannon down here. And then I want a bunch of regular uranium turrets that help to absorb the damage, so that the bigger turrets aren't targeted and or prioritized against. That boom rat is vomiting everywhere. Nice. That's exactly what I wanted. So after these turrets go up, the other tip I received is from Autumn, mentioning that the grand statue would be a beautiful thing to install in the barracks once I have everyone living in this little sad tight barracks. That's a very, very fair point, and I will be doing that. What I will do is move the backup materials into the hallway, so that they are not taking up precious base space. Okay, I'm going to ignore, sorry, I'm really not interested in bringing anyone else into the fold. Now, another thing that I'm going to need to do, which is kind of a weird thing to need to do, is, well, I actually did want a door there. I'm sorry, Poppy, but is to replace some of the marble that I've lost, because we're fairly low on marble. I could also treat granite as a replacement wall. It wouldn't look as pretty, of course, because we would be replacing marble walls with granite ones, but, you know, sometimes that's just what you gotta do. Alright, looks like there's a steel mace out here that I missed. I think that just about is the summary of all the little pieces I missed. Now, one way to replace my marble would just be to start hauling marble that is in, near, and around the base. That's probably the easiest way, rather than to dig up the mountain. The issue with digging up the mountain, of course, is I have to deal with more illumination of overhead mountain tiles, preventing infestations. Most of the recent infestations have been triggered up north in the caves, and I very, very, very much would like to keep it that way. And not end up with a scenario where I have infestations affecting, you know, the core of my base. Speaking of infestations affecting the core of the base, I ought to illuminate this area that is currently dark. It's not illuminated enough to really prevent infestations, so I'll get that going. We've got an eclipse. It's possible I'll have to turn off grow lights for this eclipse. Well, we'll see. I don't want to brown out here. Another net benefit of removing some of the chunks around the perimeter of home, let's actually lift a bunch of the restrictions, is that it offers a lot less cover to would-be raiders and defenders, because now they have no safe place to hide. Just keep taming, just keep taming. Right, aggro's almost made enough components for that last turret. And then we have another last two turrets. Alright, we have a little ways to go, actually. I'll be honest. So other things I want to do before I, well, set for the end game would be, let's think about this. I need to, of course, make at least the ship's reactor. So I could build it something like here, where I construct it from the cover of overhead mountain, or at least constructed roof, something like this. It's going to be one sort of ugly ship, but I could build it from like this tile, and then eventually wall it off so it's insulated. That would be one way to protect it. I'm going to need to stockpile a very healthy amount of shells so that I can replace the sapper traps, and also supplement stuff over here. So actually, copies. No, this is supposed to be a marble. I'll paste settings here. I'd like to distribute my incendiary traps and IEDs so that they're not sitting in my stockpile ready to explode on me. Looks like I'm about to get some boom babies. My this boom rat here is still a little hungover. Alright, so there is 2 slugs in his auto. 2 slugs in an auto. There is also, of course, the danger of Doomsday launching enemies. I've seen a huge, massive, dangerous uptick of Doomsday launching enemies lately. And, wow, that is like the slowest. Alright, let me add all of this to limited radiation so they don't take super ineffective pathing to get their haul. So the uptick of Doomsday launchers, I'm going to have to get really creative. I'm either going to have to bait them out with boom rats and hope that the boom rats survive the initial shots, or try to shell them, or Doomsday counter Doomsday launch, stuff like that. it's really, truly not going to be all that easy, I don't think. So fertilized eggs, I don't think I'm going to have any more. Hendrik is back in storage or whatever. So instead, what we're going to be looking to do is to just haul eggs. All right, so let's see. Raw food, animal products, fertilized or unfertilized eggs, and we'll use them. All right, so now we are re-sowing this. I'm actually going to change the sowing to, let's see, we want hops. And psychoid. And heal root. And as you can see, we've now have a very healthy surplus of rice. So the original designs for sort of creating choke points for would-be sappers and exploding them, I am changing. And the reason I'm changing is because I want the group to stay tightened together. And if I set a few on fire, they'll be stragglers. Ideally, sappers are going to go through this trap. Which also reminds me, I should be on the lookout for additional wood as a material to buy. So I have a very serious lack of it. Wouldn't mind a little bit of a haul. Checking my medical tab. Despite the people hauling the marble chunks, we're not building up too bad of a build-up. I am going to force that door open so that we don't have too many people getting stuck at the door. The door was intentionally built like this so that raiders coming in. You know what I should probably do is replace this with actual marble walling, just to make it a little bit harder to sap. But built like that so raiders would get irradiated trying to break into the base here. There is... Oh! We have a lot of boom rats that are pregnant. There is the last turret that I'm waiting on. I should probably stockpile some other uranium mini turrets as well. A lot of this is just waiting to stockpile. And I know that's not necessarily the most exciting thing to wait on, but it is what... Unfortunately, what we need to do to survive properly. Alright, so I've replaced some of the walls around there with granite walls. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. And that way we can repair it if it's trying to get sapped. Most of the time, sappers are going to be able to cut through whatever walls we put. You know, out repairing a sapper is really not that successful of an idea, to be honest. But, there we go. So now it's nice and walled off. We're still hauling in marble. This marble up here in granite, not likely to be used for cover, but this stuff, quite possibly. This stuff is kind of out in the open, so I can add that as well. The run for that is a little lengthier to try to scoop it up and stop it from being used. Alright, I got a 2-deep infestation and a bunch of boomalopes. Alright, so the 2-deep infestation I was sort of prepared for a little bit. I have a turret here. Let's go. We're gonna obviously have a lot more bugs now. 2-deep infestations generally don't have too many enemy bugs come, so it's more just trying to shoot them down quickly. So this is a... Yeah, let's have Cephalo move that. gonna slow down time a little bit. So the turret right now is tanking for us. There it goes. It's offline. I'm focusing on the big bugs. Hopefully, oh, that turret. Acid, get in there. Nope. Turret went down before I could uninstall it. Does this just happen? Oh yeah, apparently. I just lost a nose. Acid, move up. Well, I can always replace her nose with the Heal Mech Serum. Kind of an expensive process for just a nose, but I'd consider it, given that I don't like super disfigured characters. So, these boomalopes that are coming in, I'm going to have to move my beer, I think, because they're coming to drink my beer for the calories that they provide. So I'm going to move the shelves. Are you bleeding everywhere? 11? You should probably get to some sort of cover. I don't mind them going to my bug supply, because we can always tame them up there. Nope, they're not really aiming to eat them bugs. I could also shoot them. I'm not actually sure I want them tamed. Oh, there's a injured mega spider that got back up. It's brain damaged and is wandering. Interesting. They're coming through the base to eat my kibble. Well, this will be interesting. Oh, yep, here they are. Alright, who would be... Where are you going? Ow. Well, I mean, it's fun when food comes to you. It's not so fun when you get set on fire by your food. Flambe. Oh, don't friendly fire either. Has a very strange meaning in this context. I don't mind the extra heat and the extra calories. Where are... You're, what, eating my survival meals? That's not gonna happen. Alright, that's a lot of firefighting. My bad. Didn't know it was going to be that large of an explosion. Alright, so wildlife. We still have one boomalope left. It's in my farm. Alright, this little beer-stealing drunkard going to get annihilated as well. Semph, I think if you go to, yeah, at least you know to finish it off. Alright, well, that surely ruined a lot of my armor, but, you know, it's also meat that we treat as a delicacy. Wildlife's back down to 0. Very much me to blame, but that's fine. Here's that turret that we had gotten destroyed. Whatever happened to that that bug? Oh, it's out there. It's just kind of lying there. Alright, that's a lot of meat. That's going to be wasted. So what I'm going to do is take vegetarian out of this preferred general frozen and put the meat in. And let's start hauling it out. Because I really don't want spoiled meat. I set a fair portion of the base on fire to accomplish getting that meat source. So preferably, we would not have it go to waste. Come on now. James is like, quit picking on me. I'm not a meat packer. Alright, unrestricted so that he can haul this stuff. We're almost done, James. I promise. I'm putting it in the hallway because then it can be hauled by someone else. Alright, so that is all the important bits. So we'll put him back on limited. Thank you. Alright, 11. You say you're fully healed. If I want to repair that nose of yours, I have to put you on no rads because I don't want the heal mech serum healing your radiation. So we're going to wait for your radiation to hit 0, and then we can have you use one of the... Oh, the only heal mech serum? That might change the equation a little bit, at least for me. If it's my only heal mech serum, maybe I'm a little bit more hesitant. Let's turn this off. No need to drain power to power that on. Alright, so I'm going to temporarily suspend the fine meals. And the reason is, as we add more fine meals to this insect meat stack, the stacks of meals here don't improve at all. Because they will constantly be resupplied with insect meat. So we're going to whittle down our fine meals to 0, and then we'll start to resume the meals service. And that way we'll stop having insect meat penalties. All right. I would say that 50 components is a good goal, and maybe 12 advanced components is a good goal. The advanced components is mostly for the replacement of body parts that get damaged. Whereas the components is just for general wear and tear, replacement of turrets, etc. Whole lot of prep needed to be done in order to successfully blast off on a ship. It is no joke. Alright, so what is up with all of this food poisoning? I'm not quite sure. It's clean environment. Meteorite of plasteel. Cool. It's actually... Man, I might have Janes go out there and mine it. It is so... It should be pretty quick to mine during the day when we have sunlight, because it's exposed to the sky and pretty close. I think I will mine it. I think I could even mine the medical emergency of Tony. Let's put her on no rads. I think I could probably even mine the silver out here, but it's also so close to the base, as is that node, to be honest. Well, the marble blocks stockpile that has been long neglected is starting to look a little bit fuller. We're up to 800 chunks. There's another boom rat that I didn't notice. Probably eating my pack of survival meals and whatnot in my base. Gotta keep an eye on that. 11's throwing a party for a long-lasting mood boost. Hired gun. Oh, yeah, you food poisoning. It's going to have you try to join. It's interesting that there's just not a lot of space in the party, so they've been They've been spilling over to other places. I'm removing the marble stools out there. If it's eating my rice, it's fine. I think I'm actually going to keep my beer indoors because it's constantly an issue where wild animals are going to just go for it over and over and over. So I'll keep the beer and the smoke leaf and tea close at hand, but indoors, better protected from the local wildlife. Even though they seem to get into the base anyway. Alright, hired gun. You're starving because food poisoning. Oof. I'll try to fix that for you. Alright, only two more meals left to go before I turn on the fine meals back on with 100% boom meat. I think they would prefer to eat the pure rice meals other than and that's why they keep prioritizing. Whoa, again? More uranium? I feel like the Storyteller knows I'm gonna need uranium and just keep sending it. Randy the god of uranium or something like that. Totally don't mind, however. Not meant to sound like a complaint, not at all. Our advanced components are almost done. It's interesting to see what deep drill they prioritize. Sometimes James is down here, sometimes he's up there, seemingly for no good reason. Well, the psychic drone passed and really didn't send anyone into a tizzy, which is good. Good indicator that I'm doing a fairly bang-up job, making sure that my guys stay in order. And second thought, I actually don't even need this to be its separate zone. I'm going to break that door. It keeps it better lit, makes it easier access to the shelves, and because that's all on shelves, it's not going to be detrimental to the room's quality or anything like that. So this little zone out here that was previously used for horseshoe pinning and the like, I'm going to have to, I'm going to make one more small sculpture here. I'm going to make it out of marble, and it's to prevent people from standing in this spot. Because as you can see, there's no roof there. Actually, you know what? Forget the statue. Sorry, James. I know you probably want to make that. I'm just going to put a wall there. It's the easier alternative. Another medical emergency. Acid, racking it up. So we'll put you in no rads. Now 11, we've been waiting on you. But actually, you know what? I'm going to put you back on limited rads. I don't think I'm going to have her heal all the way up. I know, it's mean, but it's expensive. It's very, very expensive to use Heal Max Serum just for a nose. When it could be used for, like, brain damage or something like that. Alright, I would say one more attempt, or you know what? I'm actually tired of this boom rat. Damaging poor pants, but you know, for the greater good. Alright, so the fine meals are done. So now we can go back to having non-insect meat fine meals. And for now, I'm going to disallow insect meat. And we'll just make fine meals out of meat until I run out of meat, and then we can switch them back. There's been an impressive uptick of animals coming in. I was not expecting having hundreds of meat surplus. You know what I could do? Actually, just forever cook the fine meals. It actually saves some space, and might as well prep it ahead of time. Oh, we have a power feedback event. Now, another thing I was doing out here is having a, let me shrink this limited zone. Having a sandbag wall installed, and we can use this to shoot from. It's nice and central to the base and easy for us to deploy to. Stormy, you are going to, oh yeah, look at you go. Doesn't feel good, but nice effort. Starting to remove this sort of pickup and haul areas that I had designated. That's looking a little better, a little safer. This is like a nice little kill box. So we don't have quite the same cover as we do over here. So if we can get here, that's ideal. But that will work too. So now it's sort of about acquiring plasteel, uranium, steel, wood, components, spare shells, that kind of thing. I will eventually raise the shells for chem, fuel, and steel requirements up, stockpiling several hundred or so that we have plenty at our disposal to rearm the explosive traps over here. And I think I'm going to move some of these so that they're a little less close to the IEDs. There we go. Something like that. Yeah, that will work. I just don't want to lose the marble shelving. Alright, raid relationship. Well, the crazy thing in here is I'm just about out of time, guys. This was normally where I would end an episode. But, oh boy. We have a raid relationship. The lover of hired gun is here. And they're attacking immediately. They're gonna try to avoid traps. I'm really curious where they're gonna go. Part of me says if I turn on this turret, I can bait all of the Doomsday launchers. But you know what? That's a problem for future me. I'm going to have to think on how I'm going to defend against that raid. And I have, I guess, 2 days to do it. Alright, well, I wanted to thank Kiffy and Autumn for their feedback that I used this episode. Or, well, in the future, too. And if you have any tips, tricks, feedback for me for the in-game raids, the Reactor raids, drop me a line. I'm eager to hear it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you all later. Adios.